Hey, welcome into the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live and Kudzu Sports. Coach's Show, Tony Dimitri. Coach's Show is Tony Dimitri, Rick Beach. Coach, big win tonight, coming off this 2 wins in a row, home field wins, 10-0 win over Columbus. Great pitching by Brennan Horton. What can you say about the senior, knowing, hey, like to get this week going. They got a couple non-conference, non-region games this week. And what do you think about Horton's performance coming out aggressive and just how he pitched today?
Yeah, Brennan, obviously being a senior, he's somebody we're going to lean on, and especially with the way the week's kind of played out right now with some of the, I say our family going down just because we had Parker not with us today because his family, with his dad passing away and everything, and everybody picked up the slack for him not being here, and we preach all the time 23, and the day it was 23 plus SC, and that's his dad's initials, and we wrote it on the board, and all the kids wore green, and Brennan, like you asked, I mean, he battled. He threw strikes. He gave us a chance. He flipped some curveballs in there, and that's what you want.
Yeah, he came out in the first inning. I think he got the strikeout to start off, and it was like first pitch out. But you could tell he was in a groove. Then your offense today, I've made mention during the game, you're not going to see the 3-run homers from Harris County this year. They're just not big boppers up and down the lineup. Actually, last game you got your first 2 home runs. Parker Clark hitting one of them, and Holden Hayek the other. So, you got to find your identity. Some teams it takes a little while. I think you're doing a great job. Your team's doing a great job of finding that identity. And it's the speed. You got speed all over the place tonight. Ashton Herring, another multiple stolen base game. We saw, Tyler Kennedy, Colt Kennedy getting out there, going on first movement from a left-handed pitcher. But, knowing you're picked off, but just keeping that speed going. And I felt y'all put a massive amount of pressure. What can you say about the stress and pressure it puts on a defense when a team has speed up and down the lineup?
Well, you said it. You said we're learning our identity. And I know I've said that before. We're going to find that. And we are. And that's kind of where we're at. We don't have the guy that can hit just a 3-run bomb when he walks up there every time. So we're having to do the pressure stuff. We're having to move runners and be productive. And that's what we've been preaching is we're better when we do that and we are productive. And pressure's tough. It hurts everybody. It's hard. It's hard to do a lot of things and think at the same time.
Right. I like even the bunts today. Baseball has so many small things that mean so much. Left-handed pitcher, you put a bunt to his, opposite of his fall-off side. We saw him twice struggle with the field, the spin. So when he did it the first time, hey, make him do it again. And he did it, and that's kind of where you started seeing the cracks in the game going. And, we talked about Ashton Herring, a great game. You had Dejon Elder, had a big game today. Joel Rogers had multiple hits. Hudson King was a hit early. It's fun to see these kids, but what can you say about how many kids you got? It's not the same 9.
Right.
I've said something before the game to Bobby up in the press box. You're not having the same lineup all season. Every game, it's, different people in different orders. But what can you say that means from your team where they know any day their number could be called and how they react to it?
Well, you said it. I mean, it's team, and that's what we're trying to do is we got 23 guys in the dugout, and it's going to take all 23. And we preach that and try to preach that because we do have guys that are hot now, but baseball is a funny game. You can go cold really quickly, and then it's the next guy that gets in there. And learning their roles and what they can do in those roles while they're waiting for their time, it makes us better. And that's what we're preaching is team, team, team. And you're right, lineup. I mean, we're settling in a little bit now, but, you have things that come up, and you have guys that go down hurt, and injuries play a role. So you do rotate guys.
And talking about a guy getting his role and trying to making hay while the sun shines. And Holden Hayek, last game we saw the big home run. This game he went 1 for 3, but he had a stinging double. Yeah. The ball's jumping off his bat. You can see how hard he's hitting it. What have you seen him this year, kind of the adjustments he's made to getting? Is it just getting some at-bats, or have you seen something he's working on that's really getting his confidence back going?
I think, he's a football guy. And I think, once that season was over, he's a little bit behind. He didn't play last year, so he's still a little bit behind there. So I think it just took time.
Yeah.
And then on his part, he put the work in. He was working with us. He worked with me one afternoon. He went in the cage and worked by himself. So he started the year, and then obviously you tell he's a little behind, and then came in. And he's doing exactly what we're asking now. He's not doing too much.
Yeah.
He's doing just enough in what he can.
Man, it's fun to see when he gets a hit. The home run, obviously, you see the excitement. But tonight when he hit that double, he's like watching somebody at the Little League get a double. Yeah. He's so excited coming into second base and how excited the guys are. We talked about Elder earlier having 2 hits tonight. We saw him at Northside. He had the triple. Just the sophomore getting his first year varsity starting, getting a lot of playing time. you can see him growing up a little at shortstop. It's been a little rough, for anybody at that age. But his approach at the plate, I see him a lot of right field hits.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say about his work ethic and just how well he's done it going that way?
Yeah, and Dejon, he's a little snake bit at times. He does hit the ball hard and he hits it right at somebody, and then he'll hit a bleeder that falls in before you know it. He's got two doubles, or he'll sting one today that hits right at the base of the wall.
Yeah.
On the defensive side, he's somebody he's young. He's going to make mistakes, and he's one we're going to roll back out there because we have confidence in everyone, and just like we have confidence in him. He just needs that confidence in himself, and when he figures that part out, he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, Dejon, he's a great kid, but seeing him, you talked about snake bit early in the year. He was stinging the ball to every second baseman, it seemed like. And, y'all do scouting reports just like other teams, and they were putting people right where the ball was going. And now you can see, and when the weather does warm up, them balls that are carrying a little more. So it's fun watching Dejon. Now you got the doubleheader with Smith Station tomorrow on the road. I would imagine it'd be a McLemore and Milestone doubleheader. But your pitching staff here lately, the scores might not have showed it like at Northside. We've seen some errors play into it. But what can you say about this pitching staff and how they've handled these games where some of it might not have been their own doing that they're in these situations? But I felt like all year they've pitched with a chip on their shoulder and done extremely well. Even the young guy with Eber getting the save against Northside.
Well, in pitching, you ask the pitchers to do their job. And when they get ground balls, you're supposed to get outs. Or when they hit fly balls, you're supposed to get outs. I mean, the pitcher's job is not to get barreled, and then everybody else do their job and make the play. And that's where they have done their job. We have not protected them enough on the back end when they do their job. And that's where we're at right now. Now, we played really clean the last two games. And really in all our wins, we played really clean. And that's the difference. I mean, we're going to make one, maybe two, but we can't make eight.
Well, in the back-to-backs, the Northside game, to pick up the last game at Northside, game 2 of that series, that was every run scored on an error. But at the same time, you never saw a pitcher yell at anybody. You never, and I have to give credit because a lot of this has happened this year have been on some mistakes made. But you've never had any of these pitchers pointing fingers. They've all just kind of bowed their neck and try to get out of the situation. And I think as the season goes, that puts more. We talk about how pressure gets on the defense. That takes a lot of pressure off of defense. Is knowing, hey, I'm not quote unquote in trouble, but hey, I'm good. My pitcher's not upset with me. So I like that's your whole coaching staff and everything else. That's a great job of not. Ain't nobody got to yell at anybody. Everybody knows when you make an error. Anybody that's played the sport knows when you make a mistake. Nobody hates it more than you do. And I felt that's how it's going.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, that's a testament to Coach Mathis, too. I mean, he's done a really good job with the pitchers in keeping them focused on what they're doing. I mean, just like all our coaches, Stotzer and Kosobucky and Sykes and even Fridley and Bice. I mean, everybody, even at practices, is playing a role in trying to get these kids. And we were laughing in the dugout earlier because, granted, when you're up, you're laughing. But you could tell they were actually enjoying it. And when you start kicking balls, everybody's head goes down. But, it's not that you can't make it. You just have to figure out how to make it.
Yeah, we saw one error, I believe, that was made tonight. But then you saw the same player make a great double play to end the inning. And it's, hey, right back, he knows what he can do. Everybody knows when they're made. So it's a great testament. Like you said, the last two games have been phenomenally defended well. The speed on offense has been incredible. I think it's really, with one region series down, even though it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. But you're talking, we're still on track. Harris County's still on track to have a good season in the region. And next week, the Northgate series coming up. And I feel this is good momentum going into that series.
Well, and I do too. And I think the kids got caught up early in wins and losses.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of, got in a mind game with them. And that's what we keep preaching. Look, wins and losses, unless it's region, you're just tuning up for that. So, granted, everybody wants to win, and you want to be competitive and stuff like that, but you still have to. We have to learn who they are, and they're figuring that out. So, no, Northgate series next week will be big, and we'll treat it that way, and hopefully play our best and continue to roll.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, the wins and losses early in this year, the schedule that I'll go up and say, Harris County, we had the roughest non-region schedule of probably anybody in the state. Multiple 7A schools, road trips. The weather was freezing cold, which I know it is for everybody, but when you're going against the amount of talent that we had to go against, with a team that's inexperienced, getting caught up in the wins and losses. I know you wasn't so much as, the kids are going to be kids looking at it that way. But I think now they can say, okay, now I can see the benefits of what we learned. One player I wanted to talk about before we get out of here that maybe hasn't played as much, but he ended the game. I hinted on it earlier. When a player like Jacob Eber comes in for the save against Northside, young kid, obviously, what can that do for his confidence moving forward and knowing that he got out? So Northside series is a big series. Anytime Harris County plays Northside in any sport, they're playing the tennis tonight, and I know people are jacked up for that game. So the emotion. I captured on kudzu multiple pictures that were sent in to me from the emotion, including Eber when he got the save. But what can that do for a kid that, like tonight, Horton pitched the whole game. We've seen some of these games, Milestone, Cantrell, when he was in there, they can go. You got horses. Your starters can go 6 or 7 with ease. Yeah. But somebody like Eber who can sit, then you can call his number and him run out there as a kid.
Well, and that's what I told you earlier when we were talking before this. I wish we could have got Dejan an inning tonight. I wish we could have got TJ an inning tonight. Just to try to see what they can bring to the table, which we know they can pitch.
Right.
But no, Eber, he did it from the start of the season when he came in, and he's a guy that I'm not going to say it's not too big for him. I just don't think it bothers him.
Yeah.
I think he gets in there and he believes in his stuff, and he's able to make those small adjustments in order to compete if he does have a ball up or down. He's able to make those adjustments. And the name of the game is pitching the contact and having the guys behind you be able to believe in what you can do. And then with that series, like you were talking, it's mentally draining. It is. I mean, it is a tough series with two good, programs of history, and then, to get one the way we got it and being here, it's kind of rolled into what we did today. Yeah,
I think that was great momentum to end that. The road trip tomorrow, y'all go into Smith Station. You try to keep this going for the road because next week in Northgate, you're going to have to go to Noonan. Right. You're going to have to play one of the games up there. And the importance of knowing you can win it on the road. And I think that was the East Coweta game a couple weeks ago. And with Cantrell going down with his injury, and Cole McLemore's really seemed to, for a kid that hadn't pitched, I think, in a couple of years because of injury. I know, we know last year he didn't pitch. What can you say about that kid coming out here? He's not Fisher, Cantrell, Andrew size-wise, but I felt like he pitches like I was telling somebody earlier today. McLemore pitches like he's 6'4". He's aggressive. He's not scared of anybody. And when y'all have given him the ball here to start, what have you seen from him that's just kind of that flip switch moment?
And early in the year, it was kind of one of those things with him is let's see what he can progress to because he has been out with injury. He's like Eber. It doesn't bother him. I mean, he's a guy that he knows he's going to throw strikes.
Yeah.
And he knows he's got good stuff. His thing is can he locate it? Yeah. And very seldom have I seen him not locate it. Now, the difference is between, like you were talking about, Malstaff and Fisher and him is his ball's going to get put in play a little bit more, but he's sneaky. He's sneaky fast, and he's got good stuff to where, he doesn't get barrel contact. He gets a little soft contact here and there, and not as many balls go in play, and we've been fortunate to make the plays for him. But, no, he has bowed his neck. He has picked up the slack, and we expect him to continue doing that even when Fisher comes back.
Yeah, I think McLemore, to me, it seems like he throws a heavy ball.
He does.
It seems like a lot of ground balls. The fly balls are kind of lazy fly balls, but you don't expect it. He don't look like this, stud pitcher when he walks out there.
He's
but
good mechanically, and he throws strikes.
And that's all you got to be. It's not. I think people get lost in optics of players, especially colleges get lost in optics on how big a kid is, and I think he's a great example of a kid that just throws strikes and how important that is. That's all the time we got today. Yeah. Coach, great win tonight.
Appreciate it.
2 in a row. What they say on Major League, 1 more is a winning streak. So, look, for next week or for tomorrow, the 2 games, go over there. Good luck. Yep, I'm not going to be able to make the track with y'all tomorrow. So, I know y'all go over there, kill it. And I believe we don't have a game for a couple weeks after I looked at the schedule on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. But I'll be here next week with for the Northgate series. Sure. So for Tony Dimitri, I'm Rick Beach, Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll see you next time.